What's up, YouTube? Today I want to talk about why I don't recommend SmallRig cages to anyone who regularly shoots photos alongside video. And to help illustrate why, we're going to be comparing two cages for the Sony a6700 from SmallRig and Newer. I purchased both of these cages after watching Thomas J. McClure's video on a6700 camera cages, and you should still watch that video for a general overview of both of these cages, but I felt there were a couple of additional details that I wanted to share with you guys. To provide a little bit of background, since getting more interested in shooting video and starting to explore camera rigging, I've been struggling to find a setup that works seamlessly across my three most common use cases: shooting photos or video run-and-gun handheld, shooting in a studio or static environment, usually from a tripod with the aid of an on-camera flash, or shooting video with a gimbal. I've been steadily working towards building a setup that lets me switch between these three use cases with as little friction as possible. The SmallRig cage for the a6700, as well as the cage that I purchased earlier on for the a6400 that this video is being recorded on, have a pretty big flaw that makes them frustrating to use as a hybrid shooter, and I haven't seen anyone else talk about it. The flaw is that the SmallRig cages do not have enough clearance to attach both a NATO rail or another kind of quick-release mounting system, such as the FallCam F22 system, and still attach a flash to the camera, such as this Godox TT350S that I have here. The NATO rail or the F22 rail will block the flash from inserting all the way into the camera hot shoe. This means that every time I want to shoot photos with a flash, I have to unscrew the NATO rail or the alternative quick-release system, and then after I'm done using the flash, I then need to screw the NATO rail or the F22 rail back in anytime I want to attach a monitor or top handle to the cage. As someone who wants to be able to do the three things that I mentioned earlier, run-and-gun handheld, studio shooting, and gimbal work, without friction, this is pretty frustrating. The Newer cage, on the other hand, solves this issue by 1. Having an integrated NATO rail in the top portion of the cage, and 2. Having a staggered arrangement of 1/4 inch and 3/8 screw holes in the top rail. This means that I can screw the FallCam F22 rail into the set of 1/4 inch screw holes that are further forward and use the rail without blocking the camera hot shoe. I can just leave it screwed on. Using the NATO rail that's built in is even simpler, since I can just attach and detach this top handle from NITSI without having to worry about screwing anything in. This is great, but the Newer cage isn't perfect either, specifically for shooting with a gimbal or with a tripod. One of the things I do really like about the SmallRig cages is that they have a 1/4 inch screw hole and a 3/8 screw hole that are in line with each other. This means that when you're attaching a tripod plate or a gimbal plate, like this Arca Swiss one for the Hohem iSteady MT2 that I have here, you can avoid having the plate twist left or right by having two 1/4 inch screws in line with each other, one screwed into each hole. With the Newer cage, you don't have any holes that are in line with each other, as they're all offset to either side. However, I was able to get around this by finding a very long, slotted 1/4 inch screw that I actually have screwed into the camera body itself. This screw goes through both the gimbal plate and the cage and pulls both against the camera body. This way I don't have to worry about the gimbal plate working its way out of perpendicular alignment with the camera body. I'll leave a link to these screws in the description, and maybe it'll help you out if you've been struggling with this same issue. It does seem like no manufacturer makes a perfect camera cage for hybrid shooters out of the box. All the cages I've tried are flawed in one way or another. However, I'm grateful that I've been able to find a setup that's working well for me now with these third-party screws. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content. And if you have questions or if there's something else you'd like me to review, leave a comment down below. I don't know how often I'm going to be making videos like this, since I'm probably going to be focusing on bringing my headphone reviews over to YouTube, but stay tuned either way. Until next time, this is Bedrock Reviews, signing off.